A Twist in Time by Wolf08, Chapter 31, Reassembled. There was a sun shower the day before the third exam. Raindrops mingling with the warm sunbeams pooling over Konoha streets. Most villagers had fled for cover when the drizzle began, but Sakura didn't mind it. After all, she was sheltered under Ichiraku's canopy with one of her closest friends. It was a good month then? Sakura asked her blonde, orange-clad teammate while he slurped away his favorite food. Oh yeah! Jiraiya-sensei showed me a lot of things! Sakura raised her eyebrow at this. She wasn't so sure she wanted to know every detail of Naruto's adventures with the infamous pervert. Were there any new techniques? She asked, while guiding their conversation to something appropriate for a public setting. Naruto turned to look at her, his blue eyes twinkling. I sure did, but I'm not telling you what they are just yet. Trust me, you're gonna be impressed when you see them tomorrow. He got over a cheeky smile. What about you? How was your month? Good, she said, shrugging, while Naruto turned his back to a steaming bowl of ramen to wolf down her mouthful. Busy, I guess. Sakura decided she would keep her recap sparse and positive, because wiping the smile off of Naruto's face was the last thing she wanted to do, especially when she was so thrilled to finally see him again. She missed Team 7. Who'd you train with? A few people. I spent lots of times with the medical ninjas at the hospital, especially one named Suzune. But most of my training was with Tsunade-sama, who happens to be Jiraiya-sensei's former teammate. Yeah, I heard about that lady. Jiraiya-sensei talked about her a lot. Apparently she's got the most gigantic... Sakura promptly shoved him out of his chair and continued, as if she hadn't been interrupted. I also spent a few days with Kurenai-sensei in Hinata. She finished and folded her arms across her chest as Naruto scrambled back up. You know, he said, surprisingly not whining about being pushed, I'm happy with how the matches lined up. Haku's a cool guy, but I still wouldn't mind kicking his ass. I'm relieved I don't have to fight Hinata-chan. Sakura nodded and observed her teammate out the corner of her eye, his gazing into his bowl with a faraway expression. I mean, I wouldn't have minded kicking Sasuke's ass too, because sometimes he really deserves it. Sakura silently agreed with this. But I also want him to win. And you too, Sakura-chan. I just want all of us to watch each other win our fights. We can do this, Sakura beamed, her heart clenching with some combination of excitement and nostalgia. She grasped Naruto's forearm and gave it a fond squeeze. He flushed a little at the gesture, his usual spun full swing. I think tomorrow's going to be a really great day for us. I can feel it. Here, Fate! Here, boy! There was no word from Kakashi or Sasuke for the duration of the month, which was both a little nerve-wracking and a little relieving for Sakura. The hyper-anxious part of her head speculated whether Orochimaru caught them while they were journeying across foreign lands, but the rational part of her doubted. Kakashi was highly capable of keeping them both safe and notifying the village well in advance if anything suspicious occurred. It's alright. Relax. Sasuke's fine. Just focus on your training. Thus he did. As the days stretched on, Sakura fretted over Sasuke less and less, and, for once, dedicated most of her energy to her own health and safety, before meeting Naruto for ramen. In fact, while Sakura was changing from her scrubs to her yukata, she realized her body was the healthiest she had ever seen it in this life. She managed to sleep properly for the majority of the month, and not once had she been pulled to the future. An overly optimistic side of her wanted to believe that her extra defenses on the time travel scroll were helping mend it somehow. Now her face was full of color again, the dark circles gone from beneath her eyes, and her calves and arms covered in firm, lean muscles. You're glowing these days, forehead. Ino commented a few weeks prior while she trimmed the end of Sakura's hair, which had grown out past her shoulders. They were in a private room in the hospital because, despite, some immense progress in her recovery, the medical personnel still wanted her under their surveillance as much as possible. And at least now she had her own space. Sakura smirked, but kept her head trained forward, not to screw up her haircut. You know what would make me even feel better? If you let me have a go at the herb collection in your shop. Ino let out an exasperated sigh. I would, but I've already been out today. You know that. The hospital curfew bullshit is the worst! They might make an exception if I escort you, Sakura said, as he didn't doubt it. As if she wasn't already famous enough before the Chunin exams, word of her training with the legendary Tsunade Senju spread like wildfire. Not only was she now deemed a medical ninja elitist, but a budding media sensation. Ino shrugged, pacing around to Sakura's front side, Run your fingertips through damp, freshly chopped hair to make sure the ends are straight. I guess so, she said. Alright, fine, but only because it's your birthday. And we better not be out too late. Lose my mind if I haven't listened to another squeaky lecture from my stupid nurse or my father. Don't worry, Sakura teased. I've been more risk-averse since the second exam. Sakura figured that close encounters with death could do that to people. Rolled her eyes. Stuff it, Billboard Brow, and stop talking, or I might chop off a little more hair than you want me to. The two of them spent the afternoon raiding to find Sakura for ingredients and poisons, and for something bright to liven up her hospital room. Then treated Sakura to a hot breakfast of her choice, at a nearby tea shop, before Sakura went home to a small celebration with her parents for progressing through her teenage years. Again. She spent a large portion of her time training with Tsunade. Despite the signing claiming that she would stick around only for a few extra days, she ended up staying for the entire month, to Sakura's great pleasure. She wasn't certain this was a result of Tsunade enjoying the time they spent together, poking around at the hospital, or she was growing attached to some of Konoha's finer pubs. Rumor has he spent a night or two catching up with Jiraiya when he caught a break between training with Naruto. And this Tsunade shipper is happy. So, you gonna watch the third exam, Mantis, then? Sakura asked one day as he was played out on the grass in a training ground, exhausted and dripping with sweat after a taijutsu lesson in the scorching heat. Tsunade shrugged, sipping from a flask of what she claimed was water. Might as well, she answered. Sakura's heart leapt. After all the things I've taught you, you better put on a good show. She probably would, despite her opponent being a powerhouse in her own right. 5 whole weeks with Tsunade was plenty of time for Sakura to sharpen her skills, even add to her repertoire techniques. Inevitably, they discussed performing creation and rebirth. They went over the hand seals, studied what exactly it did to the user's body, and speculated on the best time to use it. Of course, they didn't practice Jujutsu, because doing so would shorten Sakura's lifespan, without real reason to. Tsunade also helped Sakura master smoothly transferring her chakra to others, either to repulse or amplify their own chakra levels. Although she had done it on purpose to keep Sasuke awake all night, the time Sakura transferred her chakra to him the second exam had, constantly, caused him some discomfort. Tsunade had a few tricks up her sleeve to mitigate that. Your chakra has to join your target's chakra in circulation seamlessly. Get a feel for the rhythm and pace their chakra to match it. Don't interfere with the flow of things. So he explained to Sakura in the hospital's research facility at some point in the mid-month. Sakura, who normally focused on merely getting the chakra in her patients rather than the therapeutic benefits of smoothing chakra transition, practiced this and mastered it in 2 days. It was an art, really, but Sakura had the knowledge and talent to catch on quickly. Sakura's favorite new technique she learned from Tsunade was the body pathway derangement, which was a technique that scrambled the electrical signals transplanted between a person's brain and body. In other words, opponent's ability to control their body. Tsunade was hesitant about teaching Sakura the technique at first. It's helpful to have an affinity for the lightning element with this one, she said, pursing her red lips. Makes it easy for you to tamper with the electrical nature of neurotransmission. That didn't stop Sakura in the slightest, though. I'll just find my own way to interfere with it then, she said confidently, not deterred. Get my chakra to their head, and I'll take it from there. All right, then, Tsunade replied with a smirk, really moved by Sakura's determination. It's particularly difficult to counter a technique that protects the brain. By the sound of things, this Kabuto fellow, if he really knows as much about the mythical arts as you say he does, might be able to. But this trick should at least give you an opening. Their bond seemed to grow throughout the month, and Sakura was certain that the signing was less aggressive and drunk by the end of it. She was also immensely thankful that Tsunade never asked or even batted an eye over her new student, was so familiar with her quirks, hobbies, and abilities. Anyway, like their relationship had picked up where it left off, said there was a more distance between them. Tsunade rarely directly helped patients. She was forced to polish off sake bottles without Sakura's help when they stopped for breaks in between lessons. Otherwise, Sakura had trained with Hinata a few times, but she ran into her by a coincidence on the way to the training grounds, and by extension Kurenai, who was Hinata's sensei. First, these senses were relatively non-combative, since there was a chance Hinata and Sakura might face each other at some point in the tournament. So it was mainly target practice and chakra endurance exercises. It was quite a refreshing break in between training with the ruthless signing. And then Sakura discovered something that changed the course of her training for the rest of the month. With the help of Sasune and some of the more advanced hospital staff, samples of Orochimaru's disease and detailed records of all patient outcomes were gathered. Thankfully, there were only a handful of new cases over the month, providing just enough fresh material to study in depth. It became a community effort to keep Konoha citizens, both ninjas and civilians alike, as healthy as possible. Even Haku brought ointments to alleviate symptoms from back from the land of waves, where he returned for training there. Konoha was in the spotlight for the tuning exams now, which had, inevitably, garnered international awareness for the mysterious outbreak, and for Sakura. Sasune, come look at this. Sakura called while she analyzed brain scans in the lab up to the radiology wing. It's hard to believe that just before the tuning exams, she and Sasuke had to break into the hospital to enter it. Tsunade was there too, arms folded and monitoring the investigation with a curious eye, without saying much. Only the three of them were there. Sakura noticed that the chakra around the brain was suppressed, especially in patients who were just starting to show symptoms. That could mean a lot of things, Tsunade said quietly, running her thumb and forefinger along her chin. Yeah, I know, Sakura said. One possibility is being trapped in a genjutsu. Sasune stepped back. I'm not so sure. It's worth considering. Tsunade popped up, nearly causing Sakura to jump. If this is Orochimaru we're up against, it would be wise of us not to rule anything out. Sakura agreed, grateful, and immediately after approached Kurenai, an expert in the field of genjutsu, requesting private lessons. Kurenai obliged. No groundbreaking discoveries were made regarding the illness, but they did learn it had a dormant, asymptomatic phase of some sort. How long this phase lasted was unclear. It progressed faster in civilians. Some victims had gaping puncture wounds, and there was an unusually large outbreak among civilians a few days before the third exam, so they were still playing the puzzle over. There was no signs of Orochimaru Kabuto either. So early evening on, the night before the third exam, a few hours before parting ways with Naruto, Sakura took a stroll in the field of Konoha's outskirts, just past the training ground. Rain was gone, but left behind thick, humid air that promised better weather to come. Sakura twirled 3 freshly purchased daffodils in her fingers and kicked off her scandals, feeling the soft, long grass press across her feet and tickle her calves. She'd been caught up in her training and medical duties. She hadn't processed how nervous she ought to be for the following day. Was there still a war coming? Was she attack them again? Sakura had set her concerns with Tsunade because she had to tell someone, but the signing merely assured Sakura that no matter what problems cropped up, there wasn't anything anyone could do about them now. Just focused on one thing at a time. We'll deal with this shit when it happens. Trying to get her to reach Maru's head is impossible, and definitely not a waste you want to play, anyways. Sakura put her faith in her mentor they would somehow deal with the problems as they occurred, but that didn't stop her from spending countless late nights at Konoha's library, memorizing everything she could. A warm early summer breeze tugged at Sakura's neatly trimmed hair. She sheltered her eyes from the bright, lowering sun. She also spent a surprisingly short amount of time thinking about Sasuke. Probably because she knew it would only cause her anxiety. Over the fiasco she caused in his apartment while he was gone, nearly her breaking into it twice. So she had purposely avoided the Uchiha compound since. Well, whether or not she was prepared for it, she would face him tomorrow, find out exactly what was the status of their relationship. She both felt guilty and terrified of getting her feelings squashed again, but above all she missed him. Missed the comfort she felt in his presence, and how he always read her like a book when she needed to him. And she prayed that he could salvage that connection somehow, even though as the Sasuke of her nightmares had reminded her, loving him is dangerous. Sakura didn't care though. She was a stronger person now. Spending so much time with Tsunade ended up just being the motivational boost she needed. Whether it was meant to happen, would. She laid the daffodils on Rock Lee's grave and turned her heel to fetch her sandals. Despite her best efforts, Sakura had a relatively restless sleep. It was much harder to anticipate thoughts in the privacy of her silent bedroom, especially now she never really felt safe in it. But she still woke up hyper-alert and ready to go, her nerves spurring her straight out of bed in an anxious frenzy. The third exam began in the morning, because the organizers wanted to take advantage of as much sunlight as possible, depending on how they played out. The matches could last an entire day or longer. Thankfully, the morning brought with it clear skies and a comfortable heat, rain clouds long gone. Sakura arrived at the arena with plenty of time to spare. Her emotions hardening as she neared the giant structure. Today was the day everything in her life so far boiled down to. First, it was her chance to fight at full force, make Tsunade proud, and squash one of her loathsome enemies. Second, it was her chance to impress the examiners, advance her tuning, and be rightfully promoted to the hospital's governing council. Third, it was her chance to gauge the status of her relationship with Sasuke, even if it had one at all now. And finally, it was time to test just how much he managed to change the course of history in this world. If Orochimaru returned and waged war on Konoha today, that meant Sakura had, somehow, managed to prevent it. When she reached the main gates, Sakura fell in step with the line of spectators who were beginning to trickle in, undoubtedly hoping to secure the best seats in the house. The stadium was as vast and looming as she remembered it, with capacity for thousands to fill its seats. It was surprisingly already about a quarter full when she got there, so she figured she'd better hurry along to the designated platform where competitors were to watch from. "Excuse me," she mumbled, keeping her head low while she zigzagged through the growing crowd, struggling to keep her bearings in the throng. She managed to stumble through to the intersection where competitors were meant to veer away from distress. She paused, because there was something that caught her attention. Along the very tight sea, behind the uppermost row of seats, the Hokage and Kazekage were strolling towards the designated section in the center of the arena, flanked by bodyguards. Sakura scuttled forward to get a better view of the two delegates, craning her neck and straining her eyes. Last time around, Orochimaru had arrived at the third exam disguised as the fourth Kazekage, and if her memory served her correctly, he covered most of his face with a white sheet of fabric to hide his identity. She needed to check. Did he use this disguise again? Taking her along to confirm that no, he didn't. Raza, the real fourth Kazekage, Sakura had read extensively about during her preparatory research of Zen politics, was definitely there with his face entirely unmasked. "He's not dead! Gaara's father isn't dead!" "Oh, whoopee!" Sakura thought, her heart pounding from a combination that somehow saved the fourth Kazekage's life, and sheer panic, because now she had no way of anticipating Orochimaru's next move. That's when a shrill scream met her ears. Without a moment's hesitation, Sun Knife for 11 pounds spun around, ready to lash out any threat, and praying beyond hope it wasn't Orochimaru. "It's her! It's her!" someone cried. Poof! A bright light slipped to her vision. Sakura froze, holding the knife in front of her eyes opened wide like a deer in the headlights, while other flashes temporarily blinded her. After several seconds of rapid blinking, she managed to reorient herself, a process that a rather large crowd had gathered around. Among them were several people with cameras and notepads. "Sakura Haruno, do you remember me?" One man's voice rang over the others. She glanced at the balding man who had spoken and lowered a kunai. "Yes?" She croaked, finding her voice, still a little shell-shocked from the camera flashes. "You're from the land of waves, You healed my leg and cured my daughter of pneumonia. There, come have a look. The big mag is here." Sakura felt warmth at rush as she began to recognize more and more villains from the Team 7 had completed their first C-ranked mission in. There had to be at least 30 of Land of Wave citizens of all ages, shapes, and sizes gathered around. "We're here to cheer for you," a young girl piped up with a toothy grin. Sakura opened her mouth to answer. It was interrupted by one of the people holding a notepad, who stepped forward, blocking the girl from Sakura's vision. "Miss Haruno," he said curtly, "how does it feel to skip the preliminary round and advance directly to the third exam?" She paused. She started. But then another person with a notepad, along with a camera crew, stepped even closer. "How did you train this month? Is it true that you spent the entire month with one legendary signing? Martin, why do you have the same mark on your foreheads?" "Because your boyfriend." Felt like her tongue was twisted in a knot. Journalists? Sakura wasn't certainly used to this kind of treatment, as she wasn't prepared to answer her questions coherently, with her nerves currently in overdrive. If any of them rubbed her the wrong way, she wasn't sure what she'd do. Sakura raised her hands in surrender and started backing away. The journalists continued their advance, snapping pictures and calling her name. The crowd only grew larger and larger, curious passers-by joining in to see what the fuss was about. "All right, that's enough." Thank God, Sakura thought as the new presence crept up behind her, relief for her distraction or an elf from being trapped in the spotlight. When her eyes landed on the newcomer, her relief disappeared in a flash. It was Kabuto. Give Sakura a chance in space. She has a big day ahead of her. He drawled in that velvety tone of his, And to her horror, he placed a hand on her shoulder. She shrugged it off immediately and cast him a furious glare. Sakura-chan? I think I'm gonna barf. He glanced back at her, the sun casting the surface of his round glasses, scaring his eyes from view. We should participants now, he said calmly, ignoring her obvious discomfort at their proximity. Come on. That's exactly where I'm heading, Sakura shot back, ignoring the anxious murmurs around them about how two soon-to-be opponents might square off sooner than anticipated. She shouldered her way past the repulsive snake and took the stairs leading to the raised platform two at a time, wanting to increase the distance between them as fast as possible. It was the same she didn't have to interact with much of the wave's villagers. There was no way she was staying here with a horde of journalists and Kabuto hanging around. She glanced over her shoulder and when she arrived at the top of the staircase, and found out he was following her up. So she quickly spun around and beelined down to a relatively crowded platform. Competitors as well as their teammates and sensei were grouped along the narrow concrete path. The platform was situated at the base of the stands, only separated from the arena below by a handrail. Sakura was now feeling quite unsettled jumping after that recent encounter, scanned a bunch of them for familiar faces as he pushed ahead. She passed Gaara's teammates, who were lingering at the end of the path by the stairs. Gaara was quiet and still, as usual, with his arms folded as he gazed out at the filling stands on the opposite side. Kakura was awkwardly hunched against the rail, seemingly clinging to it for support, while Tamari patted his back, and her sensei was staring directly at Sakura. Sakura turned away and kept her head low as she sidestepped them, feeling Gaara's sensei's eyes train on her the entire time. Are they up to something? Are they in on one of Razumaru's schemes this time around? She thought, biting her lip and trying to keep herself from hyperventilating. Then she remembered Tsunade's advice. We'll deal with this shit when it happens. And that made her feel the slightest bit better. It turned out Naruto was already there, further along the platform chatting with teammate. Hinata and Shino were both suited up for combat. Kiba, the only member of their team who hadn't advanced past the preliminaries, was comfortable in his hoodie, and Akamaru turtled his arms. How cute. Naruto! Sakura called, feeling bubbly at the sight of her friend. Sakura-chan! Finally! He answered, jogging over to meet her. Kurenai shot Sakura a friendly smile as she returned it. The bond had undoubtedly grown throughout their in-situ training. It's kinda getting lonely being the only one for Team 7 here. Kakashi and Sasuke haven't returned yet, huh? She asked, not entirely surprised. Also a little disappointed. As much as she was dreading her reunion with Sasuke, she desperately wanted to see him back in the village in one piece. And to find out whether he hated her. As for Kakashi, it had been well over a month since he had last spoken. No, they haven't, Naruto mumbled, frowning and folding his arms. You better not mess my fight! Sakura shrugged. I'm sure he'll be here soon, she said, not really believing the words. Because, knowing Kakashi's classic tardiness, I'd be surprised if he showed up much earlier than Sasuke's match, which took place right after Naruto's. The stands filled rapidly from there on out, and were more packed than she ever remembered them in her previous life. The land of wave spectators were gathered together somewhere behind them. Sakura could tell because she heard a few of their familiar voices screaming her name, as they spotted a fairly large crowd of medical personnel, including Ayame and Suzune on the opposite side, probably also there to work for her. Tsunade and Saraya, who were a hard pair to miss, were seated higher up, close to where the Hokage, Kazekage, and Konoha's High Council members were assembled. And if anybody sees Natsu, please snipe him! Team 10 showed up a short while later, and Sakura was pleased to find Ino among them, wearing civilian clothes. Despite her face being a little pale and sunken, she looked a little better than Sakura had seen her since she was infected. Now that Ino appeared to be in remission, the doctors had allowed her to leave the hospital for longer and longer spans of time. They briefly caught eyes and exchanged smirks. When everyone seemed to be settled in and the crowd's following waned in anticipation, Hayate, who was still alive, Sakura noted, wanted the empty arena, which triggered a new wave of cheering, and turned his attention towards the comparative platform. Is everyone here and ready to go? He called, voice amplified by a tiny microphone clipped to his joining vest. No! Naruto yelled back, certainly not needing a microphone to make his voice heard. Sasuke isn't here yet! Blood murmuring swept through the stands. Sakura twisted around to observe the sea of faces behind her. Most of which appeared worried or frustrated. Watching Uchiha Air fight was, without question, one of the biggest attractions this entire tournament. It'd be a letdown if he didn't show. Hinata nodded, but didn't seem too phased. Sasuke Uchiha doesn't fight until the fourth match, so there's no cause for concern. Yep, let's get on with the show. He proceeded to call Tamari and Shino down to the arena. The crowd's buzzing and whooping picked up in volume once more. The third exam commenced. The first match was an extremely close one that kept everyone on their toes and excited for more. Tamari decided to win it, but barely. Her wind-release techniques were wreaking havoc on Shino's army of bugs, despite the slight air of disappointment over Konoha's first competitor losing the match. Sakura got to sense the audience didn't mind Tamari winning it. She was strategic, beautiful, and all in all, extremely entertaining to watch. Wind users like her weren't common in Fire Country. Sasuke and Kakashi had arrived by the time Hinata and Kankuro were in the arena. Sakura was feeling a little anxious over it, but Naruto's attention was diverted enough for him to temporarily forget his worries. She's gonna win! I know it! Naruto chanted, clinging tightly to the rail and tearing against the edge, looking down at the young Hyuga Harris. And, a little surprisingly, he was right. It was a long, exhausting fight, but a show-stopping one nonetheless. Hinata was undoubtedly the underdog between the two, despite her famous name. She was significantly smaller than Kankuro, who was older and held himself with a confidence that sharply contrasted her timid stance. But she beat him. Hinata beat him! It was another narrow win, where, when Kankuro tried to fool her with his puppet disguise, Hinata's all-seeing eyes were not deceived. She attacked the real Kankuro, striking an incapacitating chakra point, temporarily paralyzing him. Am I the only one who's disappointed we never got to see a puppet fight between a Hyuga and one of the puppet users? I can't be the only one. It was a very proud moment for spectators from Konoha, most made up the majority of the crowd, and probably for the Hyuga clan as well. Sakura screamed with the rest of the crowd, punching her sorry fists in the air. I wonder if Naruto had any voice left for his own fight, which was to take place next. So as the fight ended, he got clean off the platform to congratulate her. But all of that to say, Sakura couldn't help but notice Kankuro didn't seem like himself during the fight. He was taunting and ruthless, not enough for the audience to hear and, overall, much meaner than Sakura thought he was capable of being. His movements seemed rather sloppy. Perhaps that was a trick of her imagination. Sakura wasn't exactly the calmest and clear-minded state. Then Hinata and Kankuro, both of whom managed to sustain numerous injuries, received medical examinations from the nurses on site. Naruto, Kiba, and the others who entered the arena after the match returned to their designated spots on the platform. Sakura would have offered to help the medical personnel on the field, but none of Hinata's injuries seemed terribly life-threatening. And also, she needed to conserve her own chakra for a fast-approaching fight. People were talking about the fight for a long while. It's greatly extending the gap between the second and third matches. Naruto, who was next to Sakura again, was normally expressly impatient when his chance to fight an opponent was put off, seemed content with basking in the positive attention Hinata was getting. Several minutes later, however, just as the buzz over the recent exciting match began to fizzle out, a new wave of chatter swept across the stadium, seemingly out of nowhere. Sakura and Naruto's heads snapped up with surprise, and they scanned the ground intently in search of what was making a fuss over. Shit! Please don't be an attack! Sakura thought, her heart rate increasing and muscles tensing in preparation to move quickly. But the spectators didn't seem afraid at all. A collective oohs and squeals indicated this wasn't a threat. Their eyes were trained on the participants' platform, further along it and near the end by the stairs. First thing Sakura caught sight of as she craned her neck in that direction was Kakashi's mop of gray hair and green army Jonin vest. Her stomach flipped. It was always an easy one to spot. It was authoritative air and crackling chakra nature. Their helmets he particularly stayed out of the spotlight. His hands were shoved easily in his pockets, his visible eyebrow arched. Paced slow and easy. A classic stance for Sakura Sensei. Sasuke, on the other hand, was barely recognizable. He was wearing dark colors. That was the first change Sakura spotted from her position far away on the platform. Her eyes flitted across his unfamiliar clothing. A sleeveless black top with a trademark wide, high-collar black sleeves covering his forearms. Heavy, dark gray combat pants that tapered mid-calf when they were met off the tall black sandals. And a thick belt wrapped around his waist. And wait, is that a sword and sheath fastened to it? I'm with this girl. This is something awesome about seeing Sasuke wielding his sword. His presence caused the audience to rouse hysterically, maybe because they may have his mass in time, maybe because his chakra signature seemed more potent and intimidating than he usually did, maybe because he looked incredible in that new outfit with his biceps on full display. In a way, there sure was a stir, especially among the females there. Sakura felt her throat constrict. Sasuke hadn't noticed her or Naruto yet, and was mumbling something to Kakashi while keeping his eyes trained on the ground ahead of him. His expression was blank, but peaceful somehow. He seemed well rested and generally content. No furrowed eyebrows, no hunched shoulders, and no sinister frown. That irked Sakura a little. Because maybe being away from her was less stressful for him. Wouldn't surprise me, actually, Sakura thought with a stab of hurt. I'm a whirlwind of problems. How I feel must be toxic. She suddenly had a powerful urge to run. Is that you, bastard? Shut up, Naruto! Sakura inwardly groaned. She turned away and glanced around the arena, looking angered by her reassembling team. Now that medical personnel were starting to clear out the arena, there wasn't a whole lot to see down there. So Sakura looked down at the audience on the other side instead, kind of to keep her stomach from turning, her pulse ringing in her ears, her mind from wandering. If Sasuke's mere appearance could get her worked up like this, she needed to avoid interacting with him before her fight, lest it throw her off her game. There's no amount of training in the ninja world that could prepare her for this dread reunion. You, stay away from me. Sakura's stomach flipped again as Sasuke's earlier words urged her for a skull. At that time, she had been so overwhelmed by her other problems, Lee's death, Kabuto's contraction of disease, that had been forefront of her mind. But now she had a moment about it. These words really stung. It was all she was trying to do by telling Sasuke about the massacre, was save him from his revenge, make his life better, their lives better. But instead, she might have wound up getting herself shut out of his entirely. Yup. Sakura nearly toppled over the railing with a hand ruffling her hair, her fingers itching for her kunai and weapon pouch. A familiar laugh met her ears. Well, are you jumping today, huh? Kakashi chuckled. Kakashi-sensei, you're finally back! Naruto bellowed, diving straight at his teacher, his arms spread open wide. Kakashi managed to evade the friendly assault, and seemed to blonde student towards Sasuke instead. Naruto was so happy he didn't seem to mind. Sakura wondered whether he actually hugged Sasuke and risked getting a black eye before his fight, but thankfully he merely slapped Uchiha on the back instead. Sakura willed herself to face the newcomers. Welcome back, she said, forcing a smile, directing her gaze at her sensei. She was feeling uncharacteristically shy and nervous in Sasuke's presence. Great to see you again, Sakura, Kakashi replied. So, what did I miss? Thankfully, Naruto went ahead and answered for her, describing the previous two matches in vivid detail. Sasuke didn't really say anything, aside from the odd grunt or smirk. That was normal for him. Then, out of nowhere, Naruto said animatedly, waving his arms around for dramatic effect. But he was interrupted by Hayate's resounding voice. Naruto Uzumaki and Hakuyuki, please make your ways down to the arena for the third match. For a second, Naruto froze. He realized he crossed his features, and he broke out with a humongous grin. Yeah, time to kick some ass! He cried, preparing to leap down into the arena again, disregarding how competitors were expected to ascend the stairs and ceremoniously enter through a tunnel. Good luck, Sasuke said. Sakura honestly surprised that these were the first words to come out of his mouth. You can do it, Naruto, she agreed, patting on the arm before springing out the platform. Kakashi just smiled. Naruto confidently waved up the crowd as he waited for Haku to join him down there, while Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi looked on. Kakashi persisted between, slightly behind his students. Sakura daringly cast a fleeting sideways glance at Sasuke, because she really couldn't resist. Firstly, he decided to do the same thing at the same time. Damn it! Sakura froze for a moment, swallowed a lump in her throat, while the two of them just stared at each other. Sasuke really did seem well. In fact, from this close up, he was practically glowing. Deciding it was too late to look away now, Sakura quietly asked, Good month? Before wrenching her eyes downwards towards where a maskless Haku was striding out of the tunnel, wearing an assortment of blues, in his Kirikakure for head protector. Letting away specters were cheerfully quiet loudly. An interesting month, Sasuke answered as Sakura could hear the smirk in his voice. Indeed it was, Kakashi agreed. She suspected they were making a reference to something she didn't know about. That insulted her a bit. was also feeling a tad giddy over how Sasuke didn't seem to openly despise her, at least in public. I noticed you managed to keep your old friend around for the entire month after I dropped her off. On cue, there was a distinct collective whoa somewhere in the stands. Sakura, Kakashi, Sasuke's eyes followed to the sound where Tsunade was stumbling through stands to her seat, knocking other people clear out of her room. One sleeve of her blouse was slipping down her shoulder, while she had a full white ball in hand. She was also yelling, accusing people around her getting her away. That's Tsunade, Sasuke asked. You sound genuinely surprised. She's here? She is, Sakura said. It was her turn to smirk. Alright, Hayate called out then. Naruto Uzumaki and Haku Yuki, please step forward. Let the third match begin!